And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus on this finally Friday, July 24th. Can you believe we're almost done with the month of July? A week left. And then we're in August, and well, after that, that's when things start turning cooler typically. I'm Chief Meteorologist Dean Wysocki, along with our Ag Director Bridgette Readel, and we don't have anything resembling cooler weather in the forecast, Bridgette. And I wish I had better news for our ag community because boy, oh boy. I mean, we're in moderate drought conditions throughout the FM area. That's only going to expand and get worse over the next week to 10 days, as I'm really just not seeing any appreciable rainfall over the next week to 10 days. Let's just put it at 10 days. There's only 2 chances for rain over the next 10 days.
Well, I think we've all come to realize this is where we stand today. We would love to have more rainfall if at all possible, but we're going to take what we've got. A lot of the crop is holding in okay, right? Soybeans, dry beans. It's probably helpful that we're not having to spray fungicides right now, only in the fact that really it's going to save us a little bit of input cost. But there's corn out there where the hope is it just gets hailed out.
Well, that's about right. That's sad to say,
Yeah.
but yeah. Oh, and speaking of hail, we do have a slight chance for a couple of strong to severe storms as we head into this evening. But other than that, boy, it's a pretty dry looking forecast. We're looking at a lot of hazy sunshine out there this afternoon. Still some upper level smoke and clouds. Winds are pretty gusty out of the south, up to about 30, and should reach highs right around 90 or so today, with those southwest winds gusting up to 30. Now, between 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock tonight, we'll see storms moving into the FM area. A little earlier to our north and west. They'll be developing to our north and west, moving southeastward. And we're getting some indications that some of those could be on the strong to severe side. They're going to be quick movers. So unfortunately, where it does rain, we're not expecting a lot. And we could see some hail and damaging winds with a couple of those storms along that line. And again, the timing on that would be between about 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock tonight across the area. I'm thinking about 7 to 8 or 7 to 9 here in the FM area, and then a little later as they move southeastward. They'll be out of here by 10, 11 o'clock tonight, and then we'll be left with clear to partly cloudy skies, 66 for a low. And then the weekend, it heats up, and light winds too. Typically when you get this strong heat, you're usually going to get the stronger winds with it. That's not going to be the case. We're going to have light winds over the weekend. First out of the north on Saturday, switching to the southeast. That could drag down while those north winds are going a little bit of that Canadian smoke. 96 on Saturday, and then south winds about 5 to 10 on Sunday, and highs around 100 on Sunday. Our record is 103, set back in 1929 on Sunday. I think we'll be flirting with that now. I think we'll fall just short, but it's going to be close. And then as we head into next week, we're in the 90s all the way through Wednesday, or through Thursday, I should say. And then we will see a Canadian air mass come in at the end of next week and to start off the month of August, bringing us some cooler weather. But as we transition into that cooler weather, I'm still not seeing a lot in terms of rainfall. So, again, like you said, Bridgette, unfortunately, it looks like we're almost hoping for hail if we're not going to see any appreciable rainfall to help out some of the crops.
We'd like that hail to be as spotty as the rainfall has been. Maybe only hit one field here, but not the one next to it, that type of thing, because there are some things that do look really good right now. I had a picture this morning that sugar beets actually look really nice, but they would certainly take some rain because they're going to need to put on some tonnage and sugar as we're going to the end of the season. The sunflowers likely going to continue to do very well, even though they could be shorter. Hopefully we still see good head development. When we get dry like this, it usually sets us up for less concern with disease like white mold, sclerotinia, as it's known, etc. And we have more concern when it comes to insects. And so will we see the emergence of soybean aphids? Potentially. Southerly winds generally bring us spider mites as well. Haven't been any reports of spider mites coming out of southern Minnesota yet. If that were the case and we started to see those bugs coming along this direction, we would truly have some great concerns about those. But right now, we're doing okay when it comes to bugs. If you are seeing something in the field that I'm not, I'd love to hear about it. Please go ahead, call us on the JLA Insurance phone line. That number is 701 293-9000. Brought to us by Nate Thorsrud. He is JLA Crop Insurance, and he's a farmer too, so he can answer all sorts of questions for you when it comes to not only crop insurance, but insuring your farm and ranch. And you can be watching us today on the Acres TV live stream, as well as Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to us by Lighthouse Commodities. Thanks to those folks for making sure that you can all see what is going on and when, and maybe sometimes you don't even want to, but there's always lots happening around here. Speaking of some of those things that are happening, Agristo, they are a Belgian-based leader in potato processing, and they have officially broken ground in Grand Forks for their first U.S. potato processing facility. They did that here very recently. Their total investment into the region will be about $1 billion. State-of-the-art facility with the capacity to process at its max about 1 billion pounds of potatoes annually, producing 550 million pounds of finished product. They are looking at being viable and ready to roll the summer of 2029, so that by the harvest, they are ready to go for potatoes. That's not as much time as one would think. We're pretty much through 26 right now. Acres were set. We know where those potatoes will be processed. So they have essentially 2 growing seasons to make those relationships with their growers and be ready to set up acres that will be brought in for processing. And it gives producers here in the Red River Valley options. We already have Simplot producing finished potato product in Grand Forks. We also have RDO, and now Agristo will join that. Agristo is going to be a little bit different though. Often we drive by potato warehouses in their bulk storage. The potatoes are just in there in bins, and by bins I mean separate sections within the warehouse under cold storage. Agristo, being from Belgium, follows the European model where they want the potatoes placed into specific measured crates, is what I want to call them. And so those crates will be the way that they want them stored in warehouses and then hauled in for processing. So that'll be a little bit of a change, and that may be a concern for some growers that they don't necessarily want to follow how that works. But I'll be curious once their plant is operational to see how that flow of potatoes differs coming in the crates versus what you see happening with live bottom trucks that are already dropping potatoes at other manufacturing and processing facilities around the region. So they'll be sort of fun to watch. Late last month, the USDA finalized technical guidelines for biofuel feedstocks that's tied to the 45Z clean fuel credit. We've not heard a lot about 45Z in the short term due to the fact that we have pretty much been focused on other areas within the governmental guidelines. And this information was buried in a carbon intensity math that really has a lot surrounding it. Basically what it comes down to is the corn and soybeans that you grow for ethanol and biodiesel, if they score better based on the math that was buried in the legislation, some of that can flow back to the farm gate. The ethanol or biodiesel plant can claim the credit, and your grain could earn a lower carbon score. And in a competitive market, that plant could hand back some of that value to you as the producer. So let's see how that develops as more information is garnered from that legislation. I understand we have Tom on line 1.
Yeah, we've got Tom on line 1. Tom, go ahead, Tom. What's going on?
Yeah, so quick question for you, Dean. So these thunderstorms that could roll across this area and into northern Minnesota, could they be dry thunderstorms to spark more a potential of forest fires?
Great question. Wow. There's always that chance. If you get these thunderstorms, and here's what I mean by that. A lot of times you can get lightning. So if let's say the lightning and rain is directly over Fargo, moving southeast.
Right.
And a lot of times you can get the lightning to come out of the thunderstorms and strike where it is dry. So yes, that is always a possibility. I am seeing some of the stronger storms, unfortunately, going through the northern part of Minnesota. So that is always a possibility. Let's hope that's not the case, though.
Okay, I was just wondering. Got friends up there.
Yeah,
so
let's hope that's not the case, Tom. And but we need the moisture, and unfortunately, there's just not a lot of moisture with these storms, as they'll be moving too quickly.
Okay, thank you, Dean.
Thanks, Tom. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. All right. So So yeah, that's a good question, because that's the last thing we want to do, Bridgette, is irritate or further enhance those fires up in northern Minnesota for sure.
Nobody needs to see more fires right
Yeah.
now, because we just know that that's that's not a good situation to be in at this point in time. We'll see what things do. Another situation that's probably not very good is our blood supply right now. So many folks are looking to donate blood from time to time. Well, here's your chance next week. It's the Save Our Summer Blood Drive. That'll be Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, taking place at West Acres from 11:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily, right there in the food court. Join me on Tuesday. I'll be there in the morning to help offer information to those who want to donate blood. I hope to donate myself. There is a critical shortage right now of type O blood, and all donors are asked to come on in and donate that day. Plus, if you give through August 8th, you're automatically entered to win a car. So why not? You get $30,000 to be paid to the dealership of your choice. Looking forward to that event very much. Also looking forward to hearing what the Livestock Report has to say today from the American Ag Network. Frankly, we've had quite a few changes in the cattle market this week. Let's hear what's going on there. And when we return, we'll have headlines, weather, and a guest. If you find yourself at the farmers market in Grand Forks tomorrow at the town square, you are have an opportunity to visit with the folks from Common Ground, North Dakota. They're a group of women volunteers who are passionate about sharing their stories and connecting with all those who want to know more about agriculture. And they have the Not a Latte Summer Event Series, and they will be handing out iced lattes for those to try and enjoy and ask their questions about the soybean market and so many others. That'll be tomorrow, Saturday morning from 9 to 1. And then there'll be another one coming up in August at the Carrington Farmers Market. I'll keep you posted when it comes to Fargo as well. And then, if you want to do a little shopping, maybe the TV's on the fritz. I mean, the one in my living room has a big purple dot on it. Might have a need to get that fixed or get a new one. So, what if you're listening next week, Thursday, July 30th? Jay Thomas, Dean Wysocki, Janae White, and Steve Hallstrom are running a live auction. They'll be streaming it on our Facebook Live and YouTube or WDAY, and they'll be simulcasting on radio. You can pick up all sorts of things from a Red Hawk suite to grills, beef to go with the grill, backyard greenhouse, and I really think the dinner for 8 at Dee's Italian restaurant sounds like a wonderful idea. And that'll be 2 to 4 next Thursday, July 24th. Just a couple of the things that are going on these days. And if you are doing some building projects, Andrew Co. Enterprises wants to talk to you. They have been building in the Fargo-Moorhead and really the region for 20 years. They are known for their reliability, for taking care of those projects from start to finish without worrying about things getting lost in the translation. So they have a great reputation, and their results truly stand the test of time. So if you want a building that's built to last, whether it's industrial, business, farm, or other, talk to Andrew Co. Enterprises, 701-277-7078 or andrewcoenterprises.com. All right, more things that are happening out in the world of agriculture today, some things that I picked up just actually as of this morning. All right, there were 3 proclamations signed this week by President Trump imposing 50% tariffs on roughly $20 billion in Canadian goods, and that's invoking Section 338 of the Tariff Act from 1930. First time it has been used in modern history. These duties are tied to disputes over automobiles, alcohol, all right, I guess that affects all of you Crown Royal drinkers, and then dairy. And they're set to take effect on August 19th, an escalated trade war, even while the U.S. is trying to negotiate the U.S. Mexican-Canadian joint review, that agreement that we've had with those countries for the last few years. The dairy exposure and the novel legal authority make the action very consequential for agricultural trade. And actually, its legal durability is a little bit uncertain. So the proclamation hits different imports, even including wine, hockey sticks, electronics, machinery, dairy, and so much more. There is room for some of this to be changed and negotiated, but retaliation is truly the central risk. Canada is one of our largest markets for ag exports, and Ottawa has previously targeted politically sensitive farm goods. When we talk about trade, that actually, let me grab those notes. I may need a moment to find this number, but it was somewhere in the when I was at the Bell Bank event on Monday, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of almost 30% of global trade happens in North America between our 3 countries. I'll need to look that up. It was a pretty significant amount. So again, yeah, if you are any of those things are affecting your life, you're probably more concerned than others. Number 1, if you're farming. Number 2, I don't know how many hockey sticks you're all buying, but there's something to consider as well. There. Yep, North America. I found it. North America is 29.6% of the global economy when it comes to Canada and Mexico, and we are highly dependent on each other when it comes to trade in all of those areas. For those of you who were curious what was discussed at the Bell Bank Ag Views Live on Monday, I did go ahead and create a summary of that, and I have posted it to our WDAY website. You can go check that out there. There's 3 pages of statistics and information that you may find useful. Now, there was way more talked about, but it's hard for me to summarize some of the Q&A that happened, especially when it comes to specific farms that were there that wanted to talk about that, or their specific businesses, as well as several banks and crop insurance folks. But always a worthwhile event. And there's a number of surprising statistics. First-time home buyers are now 40 years old on average. It's just such a delay. And here we were, when you talk to many folks in that later 40s age group and older, they're all buying houses in their 20s. And right now, 40% of homes in the U.S. have no debt on them, but they are owned by homeowners. who are primarily in the 50-year-old age category. Then we look at what's happening in livestock. We have the biggest dairy herd since 1993, but our lowest beef herd since 1951. And the amount of beef per animal continues to grow. And therefore, we're meeting consumer demand, but are we hitting a level of fatigue? There are some consumers that are saying, I cannot continue to afford to spend what I'm spending on beef. And so there is a bit of a switch going on over towards the pork and chicken favorability right now. Not everybody wants pork and chicken on their menus. Personally speaking, I'm willing to have a little bit of all those proteins. That's not a problem. Some of you,
you got to have a good
oh,
steak.
go ahead.
You got to have a good steak. I mean, chicken and that's all good, but man, sometimes you just got to save up and splurge on some really good quality beef.
Personally speaking, if I had to choose what my cut of beef is, I will probably take the burger. It's just so versatile.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things you can do with hamburger. And I don't discount a good steak, but I'm all there for the hamburger. Some of you are getting your hamburger by using Instacart. We are certainly a instant gratification nation, you could say. So Instacart has recently paired with the leading rural lifestyle retailer in the U.S., Tractor Supply Company. So some of the things you can be putting in your Instacart: pet food and supplies, livestock feed, hardware, gardening essentials, tools, and at some places you can have delivery as fast as 1 hour with no markups. So Tractor Supply is one of the latest to create a partnership with Instacart and then be able to bring those quality products right to your doorstep. If you are a fan of Molly Yeh, she is married to a sugar beet farmer up near East Grand Forks, Minnesota. She's on the Food Network. She is a lifestyle blogger. She's a judge on the Food Network, and she incorporates an awful lot of familiar foods from this region, whether it would be rhubarb, using sugar because they do raise sugar beets. Also, she's got some takes on things like tater tot hot dish, lefse, and so much more. And she's got a restaurant up in Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, actually, in the old ladies building. Well, Molly has a line of clothes at Tractor Supply. I bet you can put those on your Instacart. She's into all these cute, cuddly sweaters and so forth. And as we get past these 100-degree temperatures and you want to think about fall, feel free to go to the Tractor Supply section. Just put it on your Instacart, have it delivered right to your door. And don't forget the food for your chickens while you're at it. All right, we have a guest joining us next. We're going to be talking with Matt Carls. He's with, I got to look it up. It's VM Agritech. They have a new product coming to market for us to talk about. We're going to get the details from that on Matt when we return. Okay, it's going to be hot this weekend. You're not going to want to stand around outside. So if you're inside, why don't you take that chance to go to techsupport.farm, do the fence check assessment, see if things are protected the way they should be when it comes to your farm, home, agribusiness. Make sure that you are clear of hackers and ransomware. There was just an attack on Fairlife Dairies, and you don't want to have to be a part of that. So take that opportunity while you can. Go to techsupport.farm. And again, that would be fence check assessment and make sure you are as safe as you possibly can be. Our guest today also wants to make sure that your crop is safe. Matt Carls is joining us with VM Agritech. Hi, Matt. How are you?
Hello, Bridgette. Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. How are you today?
Anytime. So you're over in Wisconsin, right?
That is correct. Yeah, I live in western Wisconsin. Grew up and went to college over this way, but I've been really happy to get to know the Red River Valley over the last little more than a year now with VM Agritech.
So we're curious, if our crop looks like it's burning up in the valley, what does yours look like?
It's quite variable. Yeah, there's quite a few places that have been drought stressed here in the last couple of weeks. Your central sands of Wisconsin area, going through Minnesota, a lot of irrigation, so farmers can regulate that pretty well. But that's one major difference that I did notice the last several trips out to North Dakota in the Red River Valley is less and less irrigation compared to how we grow potatoes in Wisconsin. So that does change how you manage the crop for sure.
Yeah, we're a lot of dry land with for most of our crop. There's some irrigation in pockets, but we are certainly a lot more dry land. VM Agritech, they're kind of a new name in the industry. Who are you?
Yeah, so I'm glad to introduce the name of VM Agritech. The company was actually founded a little more than 10 years ago by Chris Whiteman, who's our founder and CEO. And commercialization is just really ramping up right now for our main flagship product called Curzin. So we've done a lot of research through universities and CROs the last 5 or 6 years, working alongside some pretty local ones to the Red River Valley with NDSU and University of Minnesota Extension. But yeah, really excited to launch Curzin this growing season and increase the awareness, the touches that farmers can have with it this growing season, and really build that education for next year, for next growing season, knowing that this year we're already halfway through the growing season. We're really trying to get the word out there about Curzin and what it can do for growers.
Okay, so what is it? Fungicide, pesticide, insecticide?
Yeah,
Let's
so
start right there.
we are EPA registered and fungicide and bactericide. So Curzin, or really, like I said, the VM Agritech flagship product. We do have some other products, but Curzin is unique in the way that we're bringing it to the market for a fungicide and bactericide to go in program with or replace some other products that are pretty good staples in the programs right now. So Curzin is unique in the way that it's actually a copper and a phosphorus acid. So you got two modes of action, MO1 and MO7, and we have nutritional zinc in the formulation as well. There's some unique patents that we have around the formulation, being able to make copper sulfate and the phosphorus acid and zinc completely soluble in solution. So we see actually a lower load of copper and phosphorus acid compared to other industry products out there. A lower load, which means really for growers, we see less chance of phytotoxicity and equal or better disease control. So you're able to accomplish more with less.
Okay, so we're talking about something that's a little bit more concentrated. When I think about copper, phosphorus acid, you said nutritional zinc, should I be targeting sugar beets, canola, dry edible beans, more of a specialty crop situation? What should I be looking at in my rotation?
Yeah, it's really a lot of potential for various crops. Curzin is labeled for 130 plus crops. So in my territory, being that I'm in Wisconsin, but I go northern Illinois, northern Iowa, it's a lot of corn and soybean, wheat acres. Curzin's a good fit for those acres as well. Knowing obviously a lot of wheat and small grains in the North Dakota, Minnesota area. But really, what's exciting to me most about it is its ability to plug and go into programs for the specialty crops, your potatoes, sugar beets, dry edible beans, the lentils, and field peas as well. So it's got a good applicable use to relieve some resistance pressures that we've been seeing out there with some other classes of fungicides, and really kind of prolong the technology that we have as an industry to put those resistances at bay. I kind of put a plug in for different crops. In Wisconsin here, a lot of various crops. We've got cranberries as well, and fruit crops. North Dakota, Red River Valley is a little bit less diverse in those regards, but there are a lot of crops growing in the Red River Valley. So we can work in rotation with any grower's crop schedule on the farm. Curesin does tank mix very well with other herbicides and fungicides. That's a good thing to put in with other even foliar treatments for nutritional benefits. And
So
looking at
you said
formulation Curesin. Yeah.
One quick question. You said
Go ahead, sorry.
lentils. Every time you open a jug of anything, lentils try to die. They're pretty much the sheep of the cropping industry. But you're talking about products here. Again, a combination of copper, phosphorus acid, nutritional zinc. It almost sounds like a biological. Do you fit the biological category even though you have an EPA registration?
No, not necessarily a biological. Yes, elemental. We're not a synthetic chemistry. So we are using the elemental forms. Copper sulfate pentahydrate is the active, as well as phosphorus acid, the true phosphorus acid, salt of phosphorus acid. So nutritional zinc, you're getting about 1.75% zinc in solution. Copper sulfate and phosphorus acid are lower quantities than what you see with other products similar to the industry. Maybe you've heard of, for example, on the copper side, you got Badge or Coside. On phos acid, Fostrol is one that's used quite a bit in potatoes and other crops.
Mm-hmm.
Our percent of copper sulfate pentahydrates about 7% in concentrate and 3.5% phosphorus acid. So we're, like I said, able to accomplish excellent disease control with a little bit lower dose of those ingredients, increasing plant health because we're really a contact broad spectrum fungicide. So you want to, programs like potatoes and sugar beets, lentils that are sprayed frequently throughout the growing season. We see it work well that way, being a contact broad spectrum fungicide, where you're getting several sprays, sometimes in potatoes even. One place that we work really well in potatoes is a recent study last year with NDSU, Julie Pashy's team. We targeted replacing in program chlorothalonil or mancozeb, and we proved Curesin to be very effective of replacing both those products in the different trials. The blocks that we've seen with NDSU, we saw very good weed control, or very good disease control, sorry, and the ability to replace those products in program. So mancozeb, obviously, used in sugar beets too. Manzate, we're comparing Curesin to mancozeb and sugar beets this year again. So we work really closely. I mean, it's a good time for me to talk about who we work with in the Red River Valley.
So
NDSU's
hold on. Before you get there, Matt, hold on. Let me ask a couple questions. Okay, so when you're talking about the replacement of chlorothalonil and mancozeb in those rotations, are you saying that you just replace them at that particular point in the spray program? Or are you saying replace them this year because maybe you have to use those differently next year in order to avoid resistance issues?
Yeah, it's that's what's beautiful about agronomy, right? We can look at it kind of dependent on the region or the farm, the program that we want to work with there in that area. But that study in particular, replacing chlorothalonil or mancozeb in potatoes, was actually doing the 7 scheduled sprays of those specific products instead of those products putting Curesin in the tank. So working with the program approach of scheduling multiple modes of action throughout the season, but not relying on mancozeb or chlorothalonil. Being that Minnesota Department of Ag, Wisconsin's similar. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe North Dakota's not as aggressive, but reducing the amounts of allowable applied chlorothalonil is really a big thing right now. So
Hmm.
we're bringing Curezen out at a perfect time where we can allow farmers to rely on their whole system approach of fungicide programs um, while still having good disease control with a new product like Curezen.
So when you talked about rates earlier, so you're looking at something that's more concentrated, so we don't have to overload what we're putting in the tank, because there are times when we're mixing up a sprayer and we have so much product in there, we can barely get water in for a carrier. And so are you looking at a specific rate across the board for all crops, or it's going to vary by crop, but at a more concentrated level than what we may have been doing in the past with some of the other fungicides?
Yeah, the rates for Curezen do vary by crop.
Okay.
For potatoes, for example, 1 to 3 pints per acre is our suggested rates for potatoes. Sugar beets as well, 1 to 3 pints. So we see, um, a lot of the recent research the last several years with potatoes, for example, replacing 1.5 pints, putting 1.5 pints of Curezen in program, replacing that 1.5 pint rate of chlorothalonil is an easy comparison there. We can get as effective disease control with Curezen at that 1.5 pint rate. Crops like, for example, corn right now, there's a lot of tassel corn getting fungicide right now in the Midwest. And at
Hmm.
that earlier V3 to V5 growth stage for corn, we recommend like a 1 or 1.5 pint rate for corn to really set that base for inoculum control, splash up into the young plants. But later on, as the canopy grows, similar to corn, I use that as an example because it's so tall. But even potatoes, when you get more and more foliage, the canopies are very full of foliage. You can increase your rates as disease pressure increases and as the canopy gets more and more biomass. But
So
yeah, we always recommend, yeah.
when you were talking about the elemental form, does that mean that crop safety is a lot better with a product like this versus what we see with those that may have petroleum carriers, where sometimes we get that burn or that flash from a fungicide? Here, this may feel like it's going to be a softer, gentler version that's going to be hitting some of those plant leaves, especially in hot weather.
Yeah, and some of the that's correct, and some of that is attributed to our technology called Syncor. Like I mentioned a little bit earlier, that ability to make these ingredients completely soluble in solution is a
Hmm.
unique patent that we have around this space, and being able to disperse those copper particles evenly on the leaf tissue, not throwing as much copper out there on per acre, but getting even distribution on that leaf surface is really the ability of Curezen.
Okay. That helps us understand quite a bit. So, Matt, you're working with local retailers, or are retailers going to distribution in order to find your product? What's that chain look like?
Some of both. We work with some large national distribution retailers. So in the Red River Valley right now, I'm still kind of in that development phase of meeting growers and seeing where they purchase their products from. But throughout the United States, we do have an agreement with Helena, for example. Wisconsin, southern Minnesota, other places of the U.S., Helena's got more presence. There is a wholesale distribution warehouse out of Fargo, but there's not as much retail location. So that's where we can really, as a smaller company, we can approach the market as the growers do business different ways. And so I'm looking forward to getting relationships built and bringing on retailers. But yes, at the end of the day, we want to go through retail. We will, these first couple of years, we're working directly with some larger farms to get product on the farm. But the long-term strategy is to work with ag retailers, because those are oftentimes those trusted roles of the suppliers for those farms, right? So
Right. So, okay, folks are listening. They might be curious. They're thinking ahead to what they're going to be doing next year, etc. Where do we go for more information, Matt?
So vmagritech.com is our website. We do have some social media presence. You can find my contact information on our website. Get to reach me that way. But really, what's interesting is we're a small enough company now where we are able to change and be agile to specific markets in the U.S. different ways. But a little bit more about the company, I guess. Our R&D and headquarters is in upstate New York, and so we've got a team of 5 people in our R&D facility, and we're working with a lot more trials this year than we have in the past. So we've got about 160 field trials with universities and CROs across the U.S. In my territory, the Red River Valley specifically, we've got 9 different trials this year. So just to mention most of the growers that might be listening, North Dakota State University working with Julie Pashy on pink rot trial, early blight, as well as NDSU on sugar beets for tank mix research for cures and with other programs or other products within the program. CLS trials for sugar beets. This is going to be year 3 for sugar beet research with NDSU. We're also doing fertility and sugar beet trials with Chanda out of University of Minnesota Extension for sugar beets, and CLS trials with him over in Minnesota as well.
And for folks
we're
wondering
working
what
with Michael.
CLS is, that's Sakas relief spot. So, okay.
Yep, great. Sometimes we just roll things off.
Yes, so we got our own language. So, all right, Matt, we're running out of time, but thank you so very much. You shared a pile of information. If someone missed your contact information, they can email me, ag@flagfamily.com, and I'll put them in contact with you. But last question, is it a state law that as a Wisconsinite, you have to be a Packer fan? Because on the other end of this, you have a Bears fan, and Dean, and so I wasn't sure if this would get messy.
Now, Bridgette, we all have our faults. Don't knock him if he's a Packers fan. That's quite all right.
I have no allegiance.
I'm not afraid to say that I'm a Packers fan.
See, it's a great and you know what, Matt? It's a great rivalry, and it always will be.
Yes, it will.
That's for sure.
Thanks so much for being here today,
North
Matt.
Dakota, yeah.
No doubt.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Matt. Well, when we come back, we have a heat advisory now that's been issued across the area. Well, that's not a shocker. I'll update you on that. And what about our chances for rain this evening? More on that right after the break. And welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus, 1:55 in the afternoon. Before we go, we're going to do a quick recap of the weather here. And the National Weather Service has just issued heat advisories in effect for the upcoming weekend. Kind of figured that was going to happen with, could see some heat index readings again. 105 or higher as we head into the weekend. We're not expecting overly humid conditions, but again, with the temperatures near 100, it doesn't take much to put those heat index readings into the dangerous category. So now before we get there, we're going to have a weak weather boundary move into the area overnight, or I should say during the evening hours. I just took a look at our latest short-range guidance, and they're putting most of the storm activity in northern Minnesota. Good news up around the boundary waters, some much-needed rain there, extending all the way into the arrowhead of Minnesota. So the areas in northern Minnesota that need it look like they're going to pick up a little bit of rain, maybe a quarter, half inch, some spots a little bit more. We'll be kind of on the tail end of that, so I'm not expecting, if we do see the storms, they're going to be quick moving, and we won't get much in terms of rainfall out of it. But if those storms do develop into our area, some of those could be on the strong to severe side. Timing on that looks to be between about 6 to 10 o'clock tonight, favoring that 7 to 9 o'clock time frame. And then we're going to clear things out overnight with lows in the mid-60s on a hot weekend with light winds. 96 on Saturday, 100 on Sunday, and then 90s all the way through Thursday of next week. By the end of next week, there is a chance for a few more showers or thunder showers as cooler air pulls into the area from Canada. That'll probably bring the smoke back into the area along with the cooler weather with highs by the following weekend, which is the first weekend in August, probably dropping down into the low 80s. So a big difference from the triple-digit heat, but we've got a hot 7 to 8 days ahead and really, for the most part, dry conditions outside of the possible thunder showers this evening in our area. So, again, Bridgette, I wish I had better news, but these drought conditions are going to continue to expand a little bit. And even when that rain comes in late next week, I don't see much out of it, unfortunately.
Well, one little piece of better news is that you have the opportunity to win the ultimate gridiron getaway in Vegas. Thank you to United Valley Bank, where our roots make us stronger. They're located off of 52nd Avenue South in Fargo near Kingpins, and they are helping us run this fantastic opportunity to go watch football in Las Vegas. It will include round-trip airfare for two from Fargo to Vegas, a 3-night hotel stay, and VIP tickets to see a favored local team playing UNLV on October 10th at the Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. There are going to be 2 tickets on the 50-yard line, and you also get access to the Champions Club, which is premium food buffet and beverages to go right along with it. So listen during the 7 o'clock hour, 7 a.m., 10 a.m., and then 2 p.m. So it's coming up very quickly for the right sounder, so you can call in to qualify and then be at Kingpins on September 14th to see if you're the winner. Looking forward to seeing who gets to go.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's a great trip, too. That's a great trip. Well, for Bridgette and myself, I want to thank you for joining us here on Weather and Ag in Focus. Go out and have a wonderful but cool weekend. Don't go anywhere. The Jay Thomas Show, that's coming up next.